everyone, and welcome back. Today I'm gonna make a tutorial for this beautiful summer baby girl cardigan. Cardigan is very easy to make and appropriate for beginner level crocheters. I use basic stitches, which is single crochet, half double crochet, and double crochet. I hope you enjoy this tutorial, and so without further ado, let's begin. We will start with a slip knot and chain 86. 2, 3, 4. Into the second chain from the hook, we are going to make a single crochet. We're going to make single crochet into every chain until the end of the row. At the end of the row, make sure that you have 84 single crochets. We will now do row 1 of the 2-row repeat pattern, shell pattern that we will be doing throughout our project. You will chain 3 and turn our work. Into that same stitch, we will add 2 more double crochets, 1 and 2. In this pattern, you will always skip 2 stitches. 1, 2 is skipped, and then into the third stitch, 1 single crochet. We will skip 2 stitches into the third, 5 double crochet shell. Again, we will skip 2 stitches into the third single crochet, and that's our pattern. Skip 2 stitches into the third stitch, 5 double crochet shell. So you will repeat this throughout our work, and I'll meet you at the end and we can do row 2 together. So this is what this row will look like. So there are 3 double crochet here, or a chain 3 and 2 double crochets, skip 2 single crochet, then skip 2 5 double crochets, skip 2 single crochet, and so on. I'm at the end of the row and calculated my shells. So I have half a shell here, I will have half a shell here, and in between I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 shells. So please make sure that there is always 1 single crochet between any 2 shells, and also if you made a mistake and there is 1 stitch less or 1 stitch more for you to work in, just adjust your spacing. So the next time, for example, instead of skipping 2 and doing your fan, then just skip 1 and do your fan. And so I have 3 stitches remaining, and into the very last turning chain I will put 3 double crochets, and so that will match my beginning on the other side, where we also started with a chain 3 and 2 double crochets. So 1, 2, and 3. So that completes our row 1 of 2-row repeat for this project. We will now chain 1, turn our work. Into that same stitch, we will do 1 single crochet. Now we're looking for the single crochet from the previous row, which is right here. We will do 5 double crochets in that first single crochet. So there's 1, and 5. We will skip 2 stitches, 1, 2, and into the middle one we will put single crochet. Skip 2 stitches again, into this single crochet we will put 5 double crochet shell, and that's the second row repeat for our shell project, always skipping 2 stitches in between. On top of every shell, in the middle stitch we will put single crochet, and then in every single crochet from the previous row we will put 5 double crochets. So I'll meet you at the end. At the end of the row, remember we started this row with 1 single crochet. We're going to end this row with 1 single crochet at the top of chain 3 from the previous row. And that's our 2-row repeat. So the next row will be going back to row 1, which is chain 3, and do 3 double crochets into that same stitch, and then continue with single crochet and 5 double crochet shells. The row after that will be single crochet into the very first stitch and continue with your shells. So each time you will alternate, starting with 3 double crochets and then 1 single crochet, 3 double crochet, 1 single crochet. So we now have 2 rows without counting our single crochet row. Let's do 8 rows, so 6 more. We are at 9.5 centimeters or 3 3/4 inch. So I'm gonna do another 8 rows. So in total we will have 16 shells. So how you count your shells is you kind of are going in zigzag. So you're not only counting these, that's every second row. So it would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. We need 8 more. Got my 16 rows, so let's just double check. So we go zigzag, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and 16 rows. And now it's time to decide how many shells are we going to leave for the arm opening. So one thing to consider is that this is the right side. So there is this little almost border look like on the right side compared to the other side, which looks a little bit more disorganized. So this is your right side with this little border. So what we have is right now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 full shells. And so what I'm going to do is grab some stitch markers, and we are going to separate 1, 2, 3 full shells, and we will put the stitch marker into the middle of the 4th shell. And we're going to do the same on the other side. So 1, 2, 3 shells, and into the 4th shell in the middle we're going to put stitch marker. So when we fold, we are going to have 3 full shells in the front, and on the back we will have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 shells. So what we're going to do next is we're going to continue working only from this stitch marker to the end. So let's just continue as before. So this was my 1 single crochet. I will chain 3, turn my work, add 2 more double crochets into the first stitch, single crochet, and do so until the stitch marker, then I'll show you what to do. At the end of this row, we mark the middle stitch of our shell. Into the stitch next to it, I am going to single crochet. So now we're going to be doing different things on each end. I'm going to single crochet here and chain 3, turn my work. Into that same stitch, I will do 2 more double crochets, and then continue with my regular shells for 3 rows, keeping in mind that our beginning and end of each row will be different. So on this end, we started with 3 double crochets. On the other end, we're going to do 1 single crochet. So it's going to be the opposite. So 3 rows. This is row 1. We need 2 more. That is still not enough depth, so I am going to go and do 2 more rows. So we're going to have 5 rows in total. To shape our neckline, we're going to chain 3 and turn our work. Into that same stitch, put 1 half double crochet. Into the next stitch, 1 half double crochet. Into the next 3 stitches, single crochet. One, 2, and 3. Into the next 3 stitches, we're going to do half double crochet, and half double crochet. So half double crochet here. Into that single crochet from the previous row, we're going to put double crochet. Into the next stitch, we're going to put half double crochet. We're now going to do 3 single crochets. 1, 2 single crochets. 2 single crochets, and now we're going to continue with regular shell. 5 double crochets into the next single crochet from the previous round. We will single crochet as usual here, put 1 more shell here, and end with a single crochet here at the top of chain 3 from the previous row. At the end of the row, chain 3, turn work, 2 more double crochets into that same space, single crochet in the middle of shell, 1 more full shell, single crochet in the middle of this shell. Now we're going to skip 2 stitches and do 3 double crochets into the 3rd stitch. So 1, 2, and 3. Chain 1, turn your work, single crochet, and 5 double crochets into the next space. You can finish this row as usual. And end the round with a single crochet on top of chain 3 from previous row. So this is what we have: to finish, we're gonna even out the top so it's easier for us to sew the shoulder front to back and do more, create more polished look. So chain 3, turn your work, and we're gonna do half double crochet in this space here, and then half double crochet into the first stitch of the shell, 3 single crochets, half double crochet, double crochet into that single crochet from previous row, half double crochet, oops, half double crochet, 3 single crochets, half double crochet into the last stitch of the shell, and into the last turning chain we're going to do half double crochet and full double crochet. So that's our neckline. And the armhole opening. So we're going to finish this and round this part a little bit so it's not so squarey. So to do that, we are going to chain 1 and into that same space or stitch do single crochet and do 1 more single crochet into that same space. We're going to do 1 single crochet into the next space and 1 more single crochet in here. When you get to the part of where the double crochets are coming out of, we're going to do 3 half double crochets. So 1, 2, and 3. We will now skip 1 stitch and finish this row with single crochets. So that softens that corner that we had very 90 degree. Now it's a little bit better. We're going to do decorative stitch around just to tie everything together. So right now I am going to cut my yarn, leave myself enough tail to weave in my ends, and we're going to do the same thing on the other side. So this row was started on the or finished on the right side, so we're going to have to start from here and work our way to the front. Just reverse everything. So first we need to do, so this is when we started the row, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 rows, and then we're going to start forming the neckline. So I'm going to start my yarn here. So attach your yarn and we will chain 1 and single crochet and start doing our shells and interchanged with single crochets. So do 6 rows and then we're going to start shaping our neckline. Like we said, this side will be a little bit different because we finished with 3 double crochets. So I'm going to chain 1 and turn my work, and now do single crochet, single crochet, now half double crochet, double crochet, half double crochet. Next we're going to do 3 single crochets, so 1, 2 and 3, and then again over the next 3 stitches, half, double, half, and now we're going to do 2 single crochets into the next single crochet from the previous row. We're going to do regular shell, single crochet in the middle of the shell, and finish with 3 double crochets. You will chain 1 and turn, and do single crochet here, regular shell, single crochet in the middle of this shell, and now we're going to have to reverse a little bit, because in this single crochet we're going to put 3 double crochets and 2 half double crochets. We will finish with a single crochet right here. Now chain 3, and into that same stitch we will do 2 more double crochets, single crochet here, full shell here, single crochet in the middle of the shell, and we will finish with 3 double crochets into the turning chain. So that's what we have, and now we're gonna finish with evening everything out. Make sure that your height is the same as the other side. So fold your work together, line up the sides, and we are right where we should be. So to even the shoulder top, we're gonna chain 1, turn our work into that same space, put 2 single crochets, 1 single crochet into the next stitch, half double crochet, double crochet, half double crochet, now 3 single crochets, half double, double, half double, single crochet into that last stitch, and single crochet at the top of chain 3. Okay, so we need to count our shoulder stitches. So on the other side we had 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, and 14 stitches. And here we have 2, 4, 6, 8. So what I have right now is 2, 4, 6, nope, wrong side. Okay, so here we are, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, and 14. So I'm going to chain 1, and into that same stitch put 1 single crochet, 1 more single crochet into the next space, 1 more single crochet here, and here is our corner where we're going to put 3 half double crochet. So 1, 2, and 3. And now we're going to skip this stitch and put single crochets till the end, and we should have 8. 1, and our last one into the turning chain, 8. Now we have 2 matching sides, and I really like how this softens a little bit so it's not under 90 degree. Otherwise it would be. So I am going to chain 1 and again leave myself decent tail and cut my yarn. So now that we have the tricky part done, we are going to work on our back. That looks pretty good. All right, so for the back, we are going to start on, so this is the right side, so we need to start from the wrong side. And so we marked this middle stitch. I'm going to attach my yarn into the stitch next to it. So I will chain 1 and single crochet, and right away into this very first single crochet I am going to start with my 3 double crochets, or sorry, 5 double crochets. Now continue till the end. So at the end we're gonna have to put a single crochet next to where we started our front. So right here, single crochet here, and our last shell will be here. So let's do, we obviously need same number of stitches or rows, so we are going to do 5 rows. I believe that we did 4, no, not 5, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Let's do 7 rows, and then we'll see what we need to do next. I did my 7 rows, and the easiest way to count is probably to look at where your stitch marker is, or the thread coming out where you started, the back side of your work, and then flip it down. And now we can see that we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 full rows. And here we have corresponding rows to be right here, right here. So we need 2 more rows. So let's do 2 more rows, and then we're going to shape the shoulder area. So I got my 2 rows, and let's mark now for our shoulder straps. If you remember, we were separating 2 full shells, so these 2 full shells I will leave for a shoulder strap, and my last stitch will be in this single crochet right here. And the same on the other side, you're looking for these 2 full shells and the very first single crochet. After that, I'm going to put my stitch marker. All right, so we need 14 stitches for the shoulder strap because that's how many stitches we had on the front. So we're going to make 14 stitches to match this width. So you will chain 3, turn your work into that same stitch. You will put a half double crochet, and a half double crochet into the next stitch, that is 3. Then we're going to do 3 single crochets, so that is 4, 5, and 6, and then half double and half double crochet, so 7, 8, and this half double crochet will be 9, 3 single crochet will be 10, 11, and 12. And now we have 2 stitches remaining, so we will do half double crochet into this stitch and a double crochet into the stitch marked space. So to continue, to get us to the other stitch marker, we have a double crochet here, so we're going to do single crochet into the next stitch. And now instead of double crochet shells, we will do 5 half double crochet shells. And 5. So that will give us a little bit of a neckline that's dropped down and not as high on the neck as normally would be. So now single crochet, and then again 5 half double crochet shell, and single crochet, and that will take us to our first stitch marker. So we're going to put a double crochet here, so we're going to go the opposite way from we started here with 2 stitches and ended with 1. Now we're going to end with start with 1 double crochet, take the stitch marker out. You can mark that stitch if it's easier for you to count or if you lost count, and then the next stitch will be half double crochet. That's 2, then 3 single crochet, and in the last stitch we will do half double crochet and a double crochet. So we have 14 stitches as we have on the other shoulder. So now we're ready to sew the shoulder, front and back. So we will continue with the same side, except we're going to go and flip our work to the wrong side. So what I'm going to do is estimate the length of yarn I might need, and I will do 3 times the width of the shoulder. So this is 1, 2, 3, and 1 more for good measure, and I will cut my yarn there. Now you will need your darning needle, and now this loop we're going to work through it and secure it a little bit. And now we're going to grab this last turning chain. So we have 14 stitches to, we need 14 stitches to work with. So this is 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, and 14. So this is our very first stitch we're going to be working in. But to reinforce it, I will just grab this little turning chain to start with. And now we're going to be grabbing 2 inside loops. So this loop in here, this is outside, this is inside, this is inside, and this is outside. So I'm going to be grabbing these inside loops like so. And continue doing that until you get all 14 stitches sewn. So just keep grabbing inside stitches. Make sure you don't split the yarn in that process. So inside loop only. And once you get to your last stitch, grab that inner bar, and then I'm gonna grab this inner bar here, or any inner bar for that matter, in the turning chain to bring the 2 pieces closer together. And that is that. I always double check to make sure that it looks neat on the other side, and it looks pretty good and uniform. So here I can finish my work by making a knot. So let's go one more time through this last stitch and go through the loop. That will secure it in space. Make sure that this is loose enough. You don't want this to be curled in. Tie your loop. So this is the inside, or sorry, this is the inside of our work. So I'm gonna now weave in my end while I'm at it. It's easier to do it now. And to do so, just grab available loops and work through them. Make sure you don't pull the fabric. Like so. So with the other shoulder, awesome. With the other shoulder, again, turn your work inside facing, or sorry, yes, inside facing us. And now we're gonna have to cut a little bit of yarn and sew these sides together. So bring your 2 sides together, and you're looking for these turning chains. That's where I'm going to start my work. This is my first stitch out of 14. So I'm gonna insert my yarn into this turning chain, and turning chain, sorry, turning chain on the other side, and leave myself enough tail so I can tie the yarn. Like so. And now we continue grabbing these inner loops and sewing our stuff together. So I'm going to go one more time through those turning chains. Hold the tail in the back, and I'm going to go through that loop one more time to secure it. And now we can do inner loops. So every stitch, grab those inner loops and continue sewing as we did on the other side For the sleeve, I marked myself some stitches I'm going to be working into. So to do so, just make sure that your work is facing, the right side is facing you. And we know that we ended up with a thread coming out here, which means that this is where we ended the back side or started the back side. So this is where I'm going to start my first stitch. And then we're going to be working into chain 1 spaces or close by, and we're going to spread them evenly around. So grab yourself a bunch of stitch markers. And so this is where I began. I'm going to skip the first chain 3 here and then put the stitch marker in there, skip the chain 3 and put the stitch marker in here. So it's basically the chain or the single crochets that we did at the end of the row. Skip again and put the stitch marker in there. In there, so it's either the single crochet or right next to it into the space. And so that's going to bring me to this seam. So I'm going to put 1 stitch marker there, somewhere in the middle, and now again look for that single crochet, which is right here. Skip the chain 3s and the next stitch marker should be here. Skip the chain 3 and your next stitch marker should be here. So this is what we have. I may push this one down a little bit. Just make sure they're sort of evenly spread out. All right, so these two, and we're gonna move these two. So this is my middle. Right here. So we will have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 stitch markers, and then 1, 2, I think I'm missing one. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 stitch marker. This is my middle. All right, so I attached my yarn to that little tail that I had right here. And to start, I am going to put a single crochet into that marked stitch, or the stitch where the yarn is coming out of. So chain 1 and single crochet. Right away into the first stitch marker space, I'm going to put my first 5 double crochet shell. So 1, 2, into the next marked space, I'm going to put single crochet, and then again my 5 double crochet shell. So you will continue this until we get close to the end, and I'll meet you there to show you how to close the round. At the end of the row, we are going to slip stitch into this single crochet. The very first single crochet, you will chain 3, turn work, 4 more double crochets into that same stitch, So even though we're working in rounds, we're going to continue turning our work so that the appearance of the shell is the same as on the rest of the sweater. So we're going to do, you know, the right side, the wrong side, the right side, and so on. So now continue with your shells and single crochets as you normally would have. And I will show you one more time at the end of the row how to close the round and continue. At the end of the round, we will slip stitch to the top of chain 3, chain 1, and turn our work into that same. We're going to slip stitch into that next stitch we've made, chain 3 more, and then 4 more double crochets here. And now continue with our shell as usual. I'm at the end of the row. Again, I'm going to slip stitch to the top of chain 3. So as far as length of the sleeve, I'm looking for about 6.5 inches, but let's start with 6. And 6 inches on my work corresponds to approximately 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and 14. So let's do 14 rows. We already have 3. This is where we started. So we have 3. We need 11 more, and I'll meet you then. I finished my 14 rows, and it's pretty easy to count them because these stitches are going in this direction and these stitches are going in that direction. So this is our row 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and 14. So at the end of 14th row, we ended up on the wrong side. So what we're going to do now is slip stitch into that first single crochet as always, chain 3, and now we're going to make 3 double crochet clusters. So not 5, but 3 double crochet shells or clusters. Still do 1 single crochet in the middle of the shell in the previous row, and then 3 double crochet again. And this way we are narrowing down the sleeve opening. Again, 3 double crochets. So at the end of the row, you will chain 1, and cut your yarn and weave in the end. And then you're going to repeat this for the second sleeve. I marked where my buttons will be, and I have 2 buttons. They are 2 centimeters across or 3/4 inch. You can choose your own size, of course. And I'm going to place them right here in the top, kind of in the corner on the left hand side of my garment. And my second button will be 1, 2, 3 shells in between, and then into the 4th shell. It's going to be my button. I'm going to make button loops. So to begin, I'm going to start kind of right where the under armpit area is, just so I don't see any of the seams later. So any of the stitches is fine, wherever you can start. tie your yarn, chain 1 and single crochet, and you will single crochet in every stitch around. We only used up one loop of single crochet, so now we're working into the second loop of those single crochets. So I'll meet you at the corner. I'm at the corner, so in that turning chain I'm going to put 1, 2 and 3 single crochets. Now we get to the double crochet part and the single crochet. So in each single crochet of our row we will put 1 single crochet. In each double crochet row we will put 2 double crochet, preferably one in the actual stitch and the other one in an empty space. So for example here. Then we got now to the single crochet. You know that because you have 3 double crochets coming out of it. So 1 single crochet here and 1 single crochet inside the stitch and the other in this space here. Again, single crochet, 1 single crochet into the double crochet. We're going to put 1 stitch inside the stitch and the other one in this space here. So continue this until you get to the top here. I've come to the end of the row, so here I have a space that I'm going to put 1 single crochet into, and I'm going to put slip stitch into this stitch here. Chain 1, you will turn your work into the very first stitch. You will put single crochet and then continue single crochets all the way down to this end, and I'll meet you at the end again. I have 2 stitches remaining. And now we're going to put 1 more single crochet into this turning chain. Chain 1, turn your work into the first stitch or first single crochet, put a single crochet and continue with single crochets. However, this time, this is our last row. We're going to mark the spaces where we want to have our button loops. So I marked the shells where my buttons will be. So we're just looking for corresponding shells. This one, and so my button should be around here. All right, so what we're gonna do is line everything up, and I'm going to mark my button loops to be here, between here and here. So I'm gonna leave 3 stitches for my button loop. I'm gonna mark the first or the bottom stitch, and then for the top, lining everything up, so we would have 1, 2, 3 stitches. So I'm going to mark my bottom stitch. All right, so now we're going to continue with single crochets all the way to the first stitch marker, and then I'll show you what to do. I'm at my first marker. So I'm gonna single crochet in here, chain 2, and skip 1 into the next one, single crochet. So that is our button loop, and if I put my button through, I better check. It definitely goes through it. So let's now work single crochets until our next marked stitch. Remove the stitch marker and into that same stitch single crochet, chain 2, skip 1, into the third one put a single crochet, and we will single crochet into our last stitch. So that's what we have now, 2 button loops. At the end of the row, single crochet into the next stitch, and now we're gonna slip stitch all the way around. Make sure your stitches are loose, because otherwise the stitches will be distorted. So continue all the way around until you reach the second front panel. I'm going to slip stitch into my last stitch, chain 1, and skip this stitch here. We're going to start single crochets into the next stitch. So now we have again single crochet and then double crochets, right? Double crochets, single crochet, double crochets. So into this first space I already put 1 single crochet. My next one will be in here. This is my single crochet, so only 1 in here. Then I'm gonna do 1 in the stitch and into the space. This is my single crochet, and again 1 into this space, 1 into the stitch, single crochet, and so on until you get to the bottom. I'm on my last stitch, single crochet. I am going to put a slip stitch in this space next to it, chain 1, turn my work, and continue with single crochets all the way to the top and then back. So I'm at the end of my row. So in the turning chain I'm going to put 3 single crochets as we did on the other side, and now we will continue with single crochets all the way around until we meet our very first single crochet in which we will slip stitch into. So I'll meet you there. I'm now on my last stitch. I'm going to put single crochet in there and slip stitch to the first single crochet, or you can do invisible join with me. So undo, and let's leave it at our very last single crochet. Get yourself a little bit of a tail and pull the yarn out. Grab your darning needle and now, so every single crochet or every stitch has 2 loops, or this is a little V that we're going to be working into. So I'm going to go from the back of my work to the front under both of those loops and insert my needle right here between the 2 loops and grab a little bit of a stitch in the back. Adjust the tension so that your stitches are all the same length, like so, and put your thumb here, and now you're going to weave in your end as usual. All right, time to sew our buttons. And so we said the button should be on the left side of our cardigan for a girl. If you're making this for a boy, then obviously on the opposite side. So we line up our overlap our button band, and these are my buttons that I am going to place into the middle stitch where my buttonhole is. So our buttonhole was almost three chains. So we have this stitch right here, and then we have one more stitch, and then we have 2 chains for our buttonhole. So I am going to definitely skip the first stitch here and the second, and where my third stitch is, I'm going to place my stitch marker, and that's where my button will be. So my first button will be here, and then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 stitches before the 2 chains for our hole. So we're going to do 10 stitches from here, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. And then either this one or this one, you need to put your stitch marker in. So it's going to be this stitch here. All right. So if I lay these flat and put my buttons on top of the markers, can't find my, another button, then I should be able to have my buttonholes lined up. So one is here and the other one is here, right above the button. To sew the buttons in, I use the same yarn. So to sew my button, I'm going to go in the same direction where my stitch marker is. Going from the bottom, I will now remove my stitch marker and go through my button and continue sewing through the top stitch. So now what we need to do, we need to leave a tail on the underneath of the button so that we can tie a knot at the end. Make sure that little strand is to the side. Go again. In. And that should be it. So tighten these 2 strands, make sure they lay flat, and now I'm going to cut the yarn. And I'm going to repeat that with the other button. Here I'm going to put a couple of triple knots to make sure that the button is firmly and safely attached to the cardigan. Our little cardigan is done. I weaved in all the ends. It looks gorgeous inside and out because this is a 2-row repeat. The buttons nicely complement the very rich texture of this cardigan. The stitches we used are very simple, so it's very appropriate for beginner level crocheters. I enjoy doing it together with you, and I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. If you did, please leave a like or subscribe, any comments you wish to make, and also if you have any questions, I'm pretty good at returning and answering your questions within a couple of days. Until our next project together, stay well everyone.